Colombia, es el tercer año que lo hacemos. ¿Quién es la primera vez que nos acompaña? Ok, la mayoría. Entonces, igual no están tan buenos y ya nadie regresa y solo traemos nueva gente. Pero, pues de nuevo, muchas gracias por estar aquí. Siempre nos da gusto al equipo de Unity tener gente de la comunidad. Antes era fácil reconocer quién trabajaba en Unity por las playeras, pero ya veo que todos se pusieron la suya, o la mayoría. Entonces, pues ya todos somos de la misma comunidad de Unity. Entonces, les voy a platicar un poquito sobre el evento, les voy a platicar de qué va a tratar hoy, qué vamos a ver hoy, y un poco de esta historia de cómo llegamos aquí. Hace 2 años empezamos con este proyecto de Developer Day en América Latina. Este es el tercer año que lo hacemos, y hay muchas ciudades más donde lo hacemos. Creo que son como 12 ciudades, no recuerdo el número, pero ha crecido mucho. Entonces eso siempre nos da mucho orgullo de que un proyecto que nació aquí pues llega y tenga impacto en otros países. El día de hoy también tenemos gente de muchas partes de Colombia. Perdón si su ciudad no está aquí, a lo mejor nada más vino una persona y el Eventbrite no nos muestra. Hay gente de Panamá también, por ahí están. Hay gente de Europa, hay gente de Estados Unidos, no sé, pues bienvenidos, no sé por qué vinieron aquí, pero bienvenidos. Lo digo porque hay otros eventos que están más cerca de Estados Unidos y Europa, pero bienvenidos. Y pues como siempre, gracias a todos los partners de Unity, que pues como por ende son partners también de ustedes, ¿no? Y esa es la idea, que todas las personas con las que Unity colabora, las personas con las que tenemos este tipo de alianzas, pues se pasen a ustedes y ustedes sean los beneficiados, porque ya conocen que para Unity nuestro objetivo principal es esta democratización del desarrollo. Nosotros creemos que el mundo es un lugar mejor si hay más creadores. No necesariamente tiene que ser de juegos, no necesariamente tiene que ser realidad virtual aumentada, sino cualquier cosa que ustedes estén creando, una nueva forma de contar historias, un nuevo tipo de juego, cualquiera de estas cosas, pues es mejor el mundo con todo eso. Les quiero mostrar. ¿Le pueden dar play a ese video, por favor? Perdón, les juro que está en autoplay porque lo ensayamos antes. Pero bueno, usen su imaginación. Y este demo alguien lo vio, lo presentamos hace un par de semanas en Los Ángeles. ¿Quién lo pudo ver? No muchos, está bien. Este demo se llama Mega City. Este demo tiene como objetivo mostrar el poder de Unity para hacer stream de niveles grandes, de tener millones de objetos siendo dibujados, siendo calculados en pantalla. Y el proyecto pues lo mostramos y pues, a ver si me puede. ¿No? Ok. Imagínense que es un proyecto con muchas cosas moviéndose, autos volando por ahí, edificios y demás. ¿Ya se lo imaginaron? Ok, listo. Entonces, con eso que imaginaron, su cabeza estaba... ¿Qué quieres? Lo siento. Bueno, ya. Con lo que se imaginaron, esto es lo que su cabeza se imaginó, ¿cierto? Bueno, ese demo, y los invito a verlo en el canal de YouTube de Unity. Este demo tiene 4.5 millones de mesh renderers, o sea, este componente que dibuja elementos en su juego. Hay 100.000 fuentes de audio únicas, es decir, que si uno pasa cerca de un edificio y hay 3 ventiladores, se va a escuchar como si hay 3 ventiladores. Si uno pasa por uno donde hay 2, se va a escuchar como que hay 2. Si yo paso y quedan atrás de mí, se van a escuchar esos por ahí. Hay 5.000 vehículos en movimiento, y aquí la parte interesante es este concepto de ECS, del Entity Component System. ¿Cómo es posible que nosotros podamos tener estos números con esta calidad corriendo a 60 cuadros por segundo? Es por ahí, es por este trabajo que estamos haciendo en la forma en cómo les damos a ustedes las herramientas para acomodar los datos en sus programas y que puedan alcanzar estas velocidades y esta esas cosas. Y hay, por cada edificio hay 200,000 elementos, lo cual está absolutamente loco. Si ven el video y demás, vamos a liberar este demo también en algún momento, pero si lo ven, van a ver que los edificios tienen detalles casi ridículos, que uno dice, ¿por qué pusieron un tendedero con 3 calcetines ahí si no se iba a ver? Pero al final tal vez no se termine viendo, pero pues era como el objetivo, mostrar algo así. Ok, voy a pasar ahora a otra computadora y les quiero mostrar otro demo. Perdón, no, puedes regresar a... Ok, les quiero hablar sobre un pequeño demo que también liberamos, se llama FPS Sample. Este demo fue hecho por equipo interno de Unity, gente que lleva 20 años trabajando en juegos AAA. Si ven ustedes en dónde han trabajado, hay gente que trabajó en Hitman, Tomb Raider y demás. Este juego es un primera persona, multiplayer, es bonito y demás, pero lo más bonito de todo esto es que si en algún momento jugando nos hemos preguntado cómo es que se mueve el personaje, cómo es que lo animan, cómo es que las cámaras funcionan, cómo es que hago que 2 computadoras en diferentes redes se comuniquen, cómo hago para que a pesar de que haya velocidades diferentes en un cliente o en otro, el juego se vea como suave. Si alguna vez se han preguntado algo de esto o cualquiera de las demás preguntas que hay aquí, pues es difícil, ¿no? Es difícil si estoy jugando algún juego, diga, ay, ¿cómo hicieron esto? Pues ahora podría preguntarle en Twitter a los desarrolladores, a ver si les contestan. Lo más probable es que no les den una información detallada. Pero lo que estamos haciendo con este demo, ahora sí pasamos a la computadora, es permitirles a ustedes resolver esas preguntas. El demo está disponible en GitHub, entonces ustedes pueden ir, lo pueden descargar, pueden hacer con él pues básicamente lo que quieran. Ahí hay una licencia especial, entonces no tomen mi palabra de que pueden hacer con él lo que quieran, pero lo pueden usar como base para un juego suyo. Si ustedes quieren hacer un juego multijugador y no saben cómo por dónde empezar, saben que Unity anunció un nuevo stack de networking, pero no saben en qué estado está, este juego lo implementa, entonces ven cómo se hicieron las cosas y pues ahí pueden empezar a construir. La parte importante de materiales, aquí estamos utilizando el High Definition Render Pipeline. Si han escuchado de los pipelines de render nuevos de Unity, aquí se está utilizando uno, y si tienen curiosidad de cómo funcionan los materiales, cómo funcionan las animaciones y demás, lo pueden hacer. Algo que yo creo que es especialmente importante en este demo son todas las herramientas que fueron creadas encima de Unity. Unity como tal pues ya es una herramienta, entonces ya tiene muchas abstracciones, ya tiene muchas funcionalidades, pero aún así es muy probable que para su juego, su proyecto, ustedes necesiten algo especial, ¿no? Y pues normalmente lo programamos rápido, hacemos otro proyecto similar y tenemos que empezar con un proyecto nuevo de Unity, ¿no? La idea es poder ir construyendo para que al tercer juego ya tengamos herramientas de varias cosas. Entonces, este demo es principalmente interesante en el tema de herramientas. Les voy a mostrar esto corriendo ahora sí. Hay una nueva ventana que viene con este demo que se llama Project Tools, y este Project Tools nos permite manejar nuestras escenas. Estas escenas, si se fijan, este es el menú principal. Yo tengo otras escenas. Estas escenas no están como armadas como normalmente lo hacemos en Unity, sino al momento de que se inicia la escena hay un bootstrapper que se encarga de armar todo, ¿no? De preguntar cuántos jugadores hay jugando. Bueno, 5, entonces tengo que instanciar 5 y demás. Yo puedo decirle, ok, quiero cargar una escena de prueba, quiero cargar el nivel 1, quiero cargar el nivel 2. Y la parte interesante, si alguien ha jugado o ha hecho juegos multijugador, pues la parte interesante es cómo le hago yo para crear un servidor, un cliente con diferentes configuraciones, cómo hago para compilar estos 2 clientes. Entonces vienen muchas herramientas por ahí. Voy nada más a mostrárselos. Voy a mostrar un modo single player. Voy a cargar el nivel 1. Solo para mostrarles cómo se ve este demo y que ustedes digan si visualmente es bonito. Ahí va. Esa es una laptop, no piensen que es una megacomputadora y por eso se tarda un poquito. ¿Okay? Entonces, aquí está el nivel.
o uno de los niveles. De nuevo está usando el High Definition Render Pipeline, está utilizando algunas partes del Entity Component System, está utilizando el nuevo stack de networking, o al menos lo que va hasta ahorita, o lo que iba en ese momento que estaba en GitHub. Le voy a dar Start para que veamos cómo se ve. Ahí va. Esta herramienta lo que está haciendo es, está construyendo internamente los niveles, el personaje. Aquí no voy a jugarlo en multijugador, pero ¿tenemos audio? Esto hace un par de años no era posible en Unity estos visuales, entonces a mí, no sé si ustedes, pero a mí me emociona ver que la herramienta que hemos estado utilizando es capaz de desplegar esto, y que si yo quisiera hacer algo similar, simplemente voy a GitHub, lo traigo, aprendo cómo lo hicieron y construyo encima de eso. Entonces es como un momento súper bonito en nuestra industria, que está como todo este conocimiento abierto y demás. El proyecto está en GitHub, es disponible con versiones 2018.3, cualquier beta. Lo vamos a estar actualizando constantemente, entonces también no se va a quedar ahí olvidado. Vamos a regresar a la presentación, por favor. Solamente quiero dar un par de avisos más. Les comentaba, este demo pues viene con el stack de networking para hacer juegos multijugador, y parte de lo importante de mostrar esto es que ahorita esperamos esta tendencia que ya está en que la mayoría, si no es que todos los juegos, tienen que ser juegos multiplayer, de una u otra forma. Si uno va al top 10 de juegos que tienen más horas de stream y más vistas en Twitch, la mayoría de ellos tienen alguna especie de multiplayer. Si uno va al App Store, la mayoría de ellos tienen una especie de multijugador. Entonces, es como algo que no es un extra, sino es algo que ya esperan los jugadores. Nosotros anunciamos una alianza con Google recientemente para que todas estas tecnologías de networking ustedes las puedan utilizar ya integradas dentro de Unity, integradas dentro de las herramientas de Google, y que sea como muy sencillo de hacer juegos multijugador. Antes de pasar el micrófono a nuestro Keynote Speaker, quiero avisarles que hay una mesa aquí afuera con una señorita que se llama Morgan. No sé si está aquí. Creo que no, pero estamos reclutando gente para trabajar en nuestra oficina de Pereira. Entonces, si les gusta la idea de trabajar en Unity, acérquense. Están dando también unos pines súper bonitos, entonces si no, nada más vayan por un pin, aunque sea. Si no, vean qué ofertas de trabajo hay. El equipo también, si puede levantar su mano, el equipo que está aquí de Pereira. Hay como 30 personas de nuestra oficina de Pereira aquí, entonces también yo los invito a platicar con ellos, a hacer contactos con ellos para cualquier cosa. Ahora, les voy a presentar, les voy a presentar a nuestra Keynote Speaker u oradora principal. Ella es una señorita, viene de Brasil. Hace 3 años había un evento de Samsung aquí en Bogotá. Ahí la conocí, di una presentación súper interesante porque la presentación era sobre game design, que es uno de los temas que los que a veces somos ingenieros, pues decimos, bueno, pues con que funcione está bien, no importa. Aunque no está divertido, pero pues funciona, y funciona rápido, funciona a 10,000 frames por segundo. Entonces así funciona, ¿no? A lo mejor los que hacen arte pues dicen, se ve bonito y está bien, pero nos falta como, ok, que sea pegajoso el juego, que la gente se quede pegando ahí, que la gente compre, que la gente, a final de cuentas, haga nuestro juego exitoso. Entonces vi su presentación, me gustó mucho, y no hablaba tanto como de, esto es lo que tienes que hacer, ¿no? O sea, no te dice, si es un juego Candy Crush, entonces sácale dinero a tu jugador hasta que esté en la ruina, sino que es más como la parte de sentimientos que generan los jugadores, ese tipo de cosas. Me pareció muy interesante. La invitamos al Developer Day. Y bueno, Thais, recientemente el highlights que podría decir es que Elon Musk, ¿sí conocen a Elon Musk? Sí. Puso en Twitter, en persona, pues no sé si alguien lo conozca, pero probablemente lo más cerca que estemos muchos de conocer a Elon Musk es a través de Thais. Puso en Twitter que quiere poner uno de los juegos de su estudio en todos los Tesla. Entonces, imagínense ese impacto. Quiero que le demos un aplauso. Thais Weller, por favor.
Muchas gracias. Buenos días. Lo siento mucho, pero no consigo hablar en español muy bien. Entonces voy a hablar en inglés, ¿ok? Disculpe. Well, I'm going to talk about a theme that I'm very passionate about, which is game design, but especially bittersweet design, which sounds kind of weird, but let me explain. Before anything, this is me if you don't know me. I made some things, I have a master's degree, and I worked in games since 2010. So that's basically it, and let's not spend so much time on me. But at first, if you're going to talk about game design, we need to first understand what is a game, and how do we define a game? Do you guys have any idea? We don't. We generally don't know how to define a game. We know what a game is when we look at it. And generally, what we associate with games is that they look like fun. It doesn't matter if fun means throwing eggs with a dinosaur called Yoshi, or if it is killing a bunch of zombies and demons in Mars. It looks fun. But what is fun? And that's something that is a bit easier to define. We have some brains to define it for us. Have anyone read Theory of Fun by Kostner? It's a very nice book. It's a short book with a lot of drawings. It's cute. And for Kostner, fun is challenge. So for him, the whole thing about a game is your challenge to discover, to understand how it works. So in his view, that's why we stopped playing tic-tac-toe. You guys know what tic-tac-toe is? Okay. So does anyone here play tic-tac-toe? Yes. So we understand tic-tac-toe. In Portuguese, we actually call it o jogo da velha, because we don't have a name for it. It's just the game of the old strategy. That's the name of it. Because everybody knows how to win. But we still play it, even though we know and we understand. So Kostner understands a lot about games, but some reasons of what we play and some reasons of what is fun are not in his theory. We also have Flow by Csikszentmihalyi. That's how you pronounce that weird name, by the way. It took me a while. But the flow theory wasn't created for games. Csikszentmihalyi is a psychologist. He created this theory to understand why people liked doing things they did. For instance, how a professional tennis player, why he loves tennis so much. Or a single mother, why does she love so much to tend for their child, while some other mothers don't like that much? So he was trying to understand why these people like and enjoy doing what they do. And he ended up with a theory that understands how activity makes you interested, how activity makes you motivated. But his theory is mostly focused on the individual, on you. Why this activity is fun for you. And though we try to apply it to games, it doesn't fit quite that well because the focus is in the person and we can't playtest all players that exist in the whole world, can we? There is also this theory that I like very much from Nikki. He's a MMO researcher. He made a questionnaire that was answered for more than 30,000 players. And he got to this theory of 10 elements of fun. Those 10 elements which players look in a game that is fun for them. So those 10 elements are divided in 3 categories. The first one is challenge. It's people who get motivated by challenge, by trying to beat a difficult boss, trying to beat different players. There is exploration. People that find fun to explore the game, to understand the game lore, to collect things. And finally, the social element. People who play a game for the other players, or to understand other players, to talk with other players, to make quests together. And finally, there is this broad definition of meaningful choices, which means basically that a game is a space that you can make a lot of meaningful choices. That means you can make choices that you feel that impact in the game and impact on the experience you have. So from all these 4 theories, which one is right? None. But none of them are wrong either. All of them are looking to a problem. Let's suppose this problem, the problem of fun and enjoyment in human species. And each one of them are looking for a different angle. So each one of them have a unique view of some aspects of it, but don't have a view of others. That's why I think it's so important to keep researching and keep learning about these theories, because every time we get closer to understand fun in completion. No theory is going to explain it at all aspects of it. But if we understand many of them, we can have a clear vision, if not a complete vision, at least a more full one. But most of those theories we can understand if we know a little bit of psychology and especially conditioning. Do you guys know what a game loop is? Obviously, you're all game developers. A game loop is the essential gameplay in a game. For instance, let's think about Candy Crush. In Candy Crush, the action means sliding the candies. The result would be making a trio or any other sort of combination or not. And the reward would be the point of this combination. And the punishment would be not having this combination or having a bad combination that could be best. This is the core of the gameplay. Does the core involve all the gameplay in the game? No, there are many other loops, many other things that the player can do, but this is the core. This is the main thing that the player is going to do most of the time during the game. And basically this work like Pavlov has taught us like 100 years ago. So when we get our reward, we get a spike of a hormone called dopamine, which is the hormone that makes you feel good. So if every time before we get this dopamine spike, we receive some kind of feedback, it can be a visual feedback, it can be a sound feedback, we start associating the feedback with the reward. And in the time, the feedback itself releases the dopamine and not the reward. We don't care more about the reward. We just want the dopamine, we just need the signal. So for instance, if Pavlov tried this in dogs, every time he was going to feed the dogs, he played a bell. So he played a bell, feed the dog. He played a bell, feed the dog. After a while, just by playing the bell, the dog started salivating. And that's what we do with our players. We teach them to enjoy the gameplay itself and not just the reward. We start by giving a lot of rewards in the beginning, and the rewards start to get spreader and thinner, but they're still finding the gameplay fun. So basically, all of the games we play today are constructed under this concept, the conditioning concept. And we use it on the core loop. If you look at the core loop, let's go back. It's basically action, result, and reward or punishment. So we are incentivizing some actions and decreasing some actions. But is this all we have? Is this fun? Is conditioning for fun all we have in games? And that's what I want to talk to you guys about. No, I don't think fun is all we have. We have different things we can use in design and different feelings we can give our player to experience. So, for instance, we have something I call temporary frustration. It is basically when, in a moment in a game, you have a different gameplay. It is the same gameplay, but with different results. For instance, in Metal Gear, when you are captured and you are tortured, you try to make the same movements, but you get different results. Generally, we use that in a specific part of the game to highlight the suffering of the protagonist, to show the player, see, he's trying to do the same thing he did before, but he can't now, because this is a tense part, this is an important part in the game. The easier part about temporary frustration is that you can do the whole game using the conditioning as it was. It is simple, the same way you guys are used to, but just in this moment that you want to highlight, the suffering, the tenseness, this is a special moment, you use it as a highlight. We also have deception. Deception would be similar but different. Basically, you have the same sort of gameplay, this conditioning on fun gameplay throughout the whole game, but in the end, you change everything. It's generally a twist to make a statement, but it also generally makes the player feel bad. And that's a negative point of this strategy is that generally you make a game with low replayability because the player already knows he's going to be betrayed. So sometimes he doesn't feel like going through everything again. But hey, if that's what you want to convey, that's it. You have this option. I thought a lot about which game to use as example. I didn't want to spoiler, so I chose this game that is old enough. So if you don't know the end, I'm not spoiling you, it's your fault. So basically in Braid, you play the whole game looking for a princess. It's very similar to other games, especially Mario, the references, because when you get to the end of stage, someone tells you the princess is in the other castle. And you're trying to save her for a bad abductor, a bad person. But when you get to the end of the game, you realize that you are the stalker and the bad person that the princess is trying to run away. And actually, the person you thought was the villain is the princess's new boyfriend, the person she trusts now. And you are the bad guy. So some people still play Braid, even though they know the ending, but for most people, they feel betrayed. And finally, we get to the bittersweet part, which is what I'm here to showcase to you. The idea behind bittersweet is that we have a little bit of bitterness bitterness in the game loop itself. So generally, how we do it is through moral dilemmas or ethical, mental, and physical states, maybe geopolitical conflicts. We try to deal with things that generally games don't deal with. Identity issues, psychological violence, moral issues, things that people don't feel very comfortable with. And that's how we make them feel it. They don't want to feel that, and we make them. The cons of doing that is that the conditioning cycle is something that we have been doing for years, like since the beginning of the gaming industry. So this can be risky. It's not that easy to get the right balance of factors. So you don't have also, since it's not something that common, you don't have a lot of examples to base yourself on. But the pros is you can give your player a richer experience, a full experience, a wider experience of human feels, and why the hell not? We are game developers, we are trying to break new things. So this is an example. Have you guys played this War of Mine? So this is basically a survivor strategy game. Why it's different from any other game? Because the people you are trying to survive against, they are not villains. They are people, just like you. You have dilemmas. You have to think about the other survivors. You have to think about the psychological implications of your actions. The developers fought so hard to have this feeling, to convey this humanity behind all characters, that, for instance, in the beginning, they have, in the interface, the item interface, they had a slot for weapons, separated from the other items. And they realized that if they had a slot just for weapons, people tended to think that they needed a weapon. That's why they took that out and just put extra slot on items, so that if you want to take a weapon, it's a choice of yours. And it's going to take place of medicine, or food, or water, and it's a choice. It's not something that you expect to use. And Papers, Please. Papers, Please deals with the moral issues of having people in and out of a country, and how they're going to live in the country or out of it. And besides that, you also have the complication of having your own family. If you try to help a lot of people, you can be put in prison, or you can have so many discounts on your paycheck that your family starts to starve and they die. Bury Me, My Love is an amazing game, a mobile game. If you guys have time and a little bit of credits on Google Play, I really recommend you to play. It's basically a message app game. You talk with this person that is your partner, and you both are Syrians. And you guys collect enough money to send someone out of Syria during the Civil War, and you and your partner decide that she should be the one going, and you are the one staying behind. So you keep talking to her and helping her, making her own decisions. So you influence her path, but it's her choices. So you're kind of trying to help her, but not always you help. It's heartbreaking. Dysphoria by Anna Tramorphy. It's an amazing game. Anna is a trans woman, and this game is about being trans in a society that doesn't like trans people very much. And it's a very light game. It changes gameplay a lot. It's funny and it's interesting. And it is very hard to play because she took it out of the internet. She said a lot of cis people were playing this game and saying they understood how it felt to be a trans person. And she said, I don't want you guys to feel you are entitled to know what it is to be me. So she took it out from almost everywhere, but you still can find it if you look close enough. So basically, how does that work? It is the same loop, but you're not giving reward or punishment. You are giving both in form of moral dilemma, in form of consequences. Everything that the player does has consequences within the game. Some things that add in a game that is fought with the bittersweet game design. Mental space of the protagonist or the other characters in the game. How someone in this mental state is going to see the world, how this blocks their view of the world, how this is take their action. Social space, the environment these characters live in, how this impact their choices and what they can do. Misinformation. In your life, you don't know everything about everybody around you. Why do your protagonists need to know? A lot of things your protagonist just don't know, and he can't know, because in real life, that's how it works. So why not just to hide some things, even though you are counting them? And since it is a not very usual and common way to make games or to think game design, I always recommend to keep on essentials only, to focus on one thing you want to recreate and do everything on your power to do this one thing. Everything else is later. So I don't know if you know this expression, but KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Always try to use that when dealing with a game like that. This is overall the process that I personally use. First, you investigate. You try to understand what you're trying to recreate and list all mental and environment spaces that are associated with that. You try to talk with people in this situation. If you can, you try to try the situation on your own. Then you go to mechanic ideation. Is that when you get all this research and try to think of mechanics that can make the player feel like they are in the same situation. You can make the player feel not only the moral dilemma, but maybe they can feel the anxiety. Maybe you can give something that make them feel the stress. How can you convey stress in a game? That's when you start to think about it. And finally, game design interactions is when you start to test your theories of the mechanic ideation and try to change them or to make them better. But mostly, you have to remember that there is also sweet in the bittersweet. So don't try to make it too much about the bad experiences or the bad emotions, because you can end up with a tasteless game. There is no reason for the player to continue playing if there is not a little bit of sweet in it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about a game I did using those experiences. Actually, I didn't have this plan when I started doing this game. I created this plan by the process I did in this game. So basically, this game I made when I was in a not very good mental state, but it was something that I had passed through before, so I thought I knew it, and it was common, and nothing to worry about. I didn't feel anything at all, basically. Things happened to my life, and I just thought, okay. I just went on, and I didn't feel happiness or sadness. I just felt numb, basically. So that time, I thought, even though it was normal and I felt like that frequently, I thought, I'll try to make a game to show that to other people that don't understand that. So I tried to look back inside me and try to understand that. I really like this poetry by a Brazilian poet, and especially those 2 lines. He who passed through life in a white cloud, he only passed through life, but did not live at all. That's how I felt. And I thought about this poetry every time for like 10 years, every time I felt like that. So I started to investigate especially that, not feeling, not having hopes or dreams or strong emotions about anything. It just felt like a mess in the beginning, but then I finally got to at least some clues. I felt like I have a chaotic line of thought. I couldn't focus in one thing and go on in this line of thought. I didn't have clear objectives because everything felt the same. So why to have different objectives if they're all shit? And I didn't saw clear rewards or punishments. Everything felt the same. So how to make the player feel that instead of just telling them to feel? I created some strategies. For instance, when you have a choice in a game, you generally know what each choice is or what will result on. And you generally have clear 2 or 3 choices. But that wasn't how I felt. So I decided to put a bunch of choices all at the same time. And you don't know which one is right. And you don't know what each one of them will take you or take your character. My point of doing that was trying to create a little bit of anxiety about choice because you have all of those choices. But at the same time, a little bit of numbness because you don't know what each one of those are going to do or where it's going to result or how your character is going to act upon that. Also about the not clear line of thought, I decided to make all choices blurred and you can only read them when you put the mouse over it. So it is as if you can't concentrate on all choices or all things. You can only have to really try hard to think in one each time. Otherwise, you're going to lose that thinking. To change the gameplay, to make a progression, this game counts both the anxiety and the time of the player. This is basically a game about waking up and going to work, but you don't want to go to work. So time keeps passing and you keep getting more anxious about going to work and not going to work. And I count both. With each choice you make, I'm counting both. But the player doesn't know because we don't have a watch and you don't know how anxious your character is. All the player has is a change in the background. You start with that clear bluish green that for me it feels tranquil, but it starts getting this weird yellow and then this weird red just to make you feel anxious yourself. And this is not told in any moment in the game. The player has to figure it out because you don't know how you feel. You don't know how to process that. You can just get the cues of how you are feeling. By the way, also your level of anxiety changes the choices you have. For instance, if you are too anxious, some choices don't even appear for you because you don't have a clear mind to process that. Oh, there is a sound there. So the name of the game is Rainy Day because I love rain, but also rain makes me feel a little melancholic. And to help the player feel like that they were there, I'm always using background sounds. I'm always using the rain sound when you're in the apartment. When you get out of the apartment, you have the rain sound with traffic. When you go to other places, there is also the background sound, the white noise of those places as well. just to make the player feel like they are there. And this is their choice also. And finally, with all the choices, none of them are going to make you go to work or stay at home or only by themselves. It's always a sum of all the choices the player make in one playthrough to show that it's not just one thing you do that's going to make you feel anxious, or it's not just one thing you do that's going to make you feel better. It's a lot of steps for all of them. The game also has 4 different endings to show that, and none of those endings are good, because nothing in life is good. But nothing is only good or only bad. Everything has a drawback. That's the idea. And finally, I tested with a lot of people. I tested with my friends. My partner said that, oh, it's weird, that's not a game. But he didn't say it was bad, so good. And I released it anyway, and right now it has been played more than 200,000 times. By the way, it's free and it's a browser game, so anyone can play. I just don't recommend playing on mobiles. On PC, it's much better. And finally, this is the sum of everything we talked about bittersweet design and the process, and that's it. Thank you guys very much. It's over there. Thank you. Do you need to take
Vale.
it out?
Muchas gracias, Thais. Antes de terminar, voy a presentarles. Bueno. Ahí es Thais. Síganla en Twitter.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Ya. Bueno, quiero presentarle a mi compañera Cristina Amaya. Ella se encarga de la coordinación y demás de eventos en toda América. Entonces nos va a platicar sobre algunas cosas extras del evento y pues también si quieren platicar con ella para eventos, invitaciones y demás, pueden verlo. Un aplauso para Cristina.
Hola, ¿está trabajando? ¿Aló? ¿Aló? ¿Me pueden oír? ¿No? No. ¿Puedo usar ese? ¿Sí? Ok. Hola a todos y bienvenidos a nuestro Unity Developer Day Bogotá. Si no me han conocido en registración, soy Cristina Amaya y, como Arturo dice, una de las nuevas coordinadoras de eventos en Unity. Esta es mi primer Unity Developer Day y estoy tan feliz de estar aquí con ustedes y también nerviosísima de hablar aquí. Bueno, les voy a dar detalles importantes de nuestro evento. En este momento, si quieren, pueden sacar a sus teléfonos para tomar fotos de información importante en las pantallas a cada lado de mí. Listo. Primero les hablo un poco de la agenda. Hay 2 salones. Estamos ahora mismo en el salón de Track 1 y al otro lado hay Track 2. Está más acerca de las puertas afuera. Déjame ver. Después del Keynote y antes de que empiecen las charlas, vamos a tener un receso con café y snacks. Y como son una comunidad tan increíble, también vamos a hacer un networking mixer después a las 4:10 con cerveza. Y aquí pueden ver las oradores que tenemos. Un aplauso para ellos, por favor. Gracias. También tienen la oportunidad durante el día a jugar varios juegos del Local Showcase. Todos los proyectos han sido hechos aquí en Colombia. Si están interesados en trabajar a Unity, hay una mesa con Morgan afuera al lado de registración. Otra vez, información que les puede ayudar en el evento. Acuérdense que a las 1 tenemos un almuerzo por la entrada al derecho de registración y los baños están a la izquierda. Si tienen Twitter o Facebook o Instagram, por favor, usen el hashtag Unity Developer Day y toman muchas fotos. Gracias y ahora vamos a retirarnos para tomar un café. Gracias a todos.